Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to The Practical Woodsman. I'm Rut, the creator and host of The Practical Woodsman. That's right, it's my genius which has brought this all into existence. What do you all think about acorns? That's right, acorns. You ever been walking through a park or something like that, see all these acorns lying around and think, man, it's a shame. It's a shame that the squirrels get to use all those acorns and there's nothing I can do with them. Well, guess what? You're wrong. There is something you can do with them. All acorns are edible. That's right. So I don't have to know exactly what kind of acorn this is. All I have to know is that it is an acorn. That tells me it's edible. I can do certain things with it. And today, on this episode, this video brief, as I like to call them, we're going to take a look at acorns. I'm going to show you what you can do with them. The Civil War soldiers in the United States used to use acorns as a coffee substitute. So we're going to do that. We're going to roast them. I'm going to show you how to prepare them, and you're going to enjoy this, I think. By the way, can you eat an acorn just like this? Well, it's in a shell, so no, you can't eat it just like that. But I've shelled one right here, and yes, you can. They're bitter, but they're edible. That's really bitter. Well, that's where roasting comes in. Roasting takes that bitterness away. The American Indian, Shawnee in these parts, used to bury the acorns like this in swamps. For a season, that would take the bitterness away. Whew. Anyway, let's get into the good stuff with this. We're going to roast them. We're going to salt them. Going to make them into a coffee substitute. Stick around. We have to do the musical introduction first, but when we come back, you're going to see me go through this process. All right, there's the trees right there, and there's all kinds of acorns down here. So I'm going to collect some of these acorns. There's a proper acorn with a proper cap on it. Probably don't want to use one like that. It looks like it's rotten. Looks like something's gotten into it. So I will not be using those. What you want are these really nice, fresh looking acorns right here. See, looks like that's got some rot in it. So I don't want to be using the acorns that look like that. I've got plenty, so there's no reason for me to use iffy ones. That's a good one right there. Nice full acorn. My pups want to play. I've been away all day. Now that I'm here, they've been up in their crate all day. Now they want to play, and I can't right blame them because they've been up all day. But I really want to get this done because my heart's set on it. And it shouldn't take too long. Yeah. So there's one that I wouldn't want to use. It's just it doesn't look all fresh and ripe like those others, like these that I'm using. So like I say, I got plenty, and typically the greener they are, the more likely they are to be nice and fresh on the inside. Want that nice fresh meat. Go. So I'm not using a knife blade. I've got a blade here on my Swiss Army knife. It's just like an all-purpose blade there, but it's not sharp. It's got like a file on it. So I'm using that so I don't end up cutting myself. I'd recommend you use something that, you know, doesn't have a sharp edge on it either, so that you can't, you don't accidentally cut yourself, because some of these shells are kind of hard to get off. But because I've got that blade that doesn't have a sharp edge, I'm able to get in there and grind on it a little bit. What we just want the meat. Just want to get the meat out of there. It doesn't have to be beautiful. My plan is to eat some of these and to make a coffee substitute out of the rest. Tell you what we'll do with that. We will, looks like it has got a bad part on it. I'm just going to cut the bad part off and keep the good part, because there we go. See that? The rest of it looks pretty good. You folks out there in New England who are used to shucking oysters would probably be real good at this. How you doing there? How you doing there, Emerson? Old Ralph Waldo Emerson. And over here's Barley. I don't know if you folks can see them both. Ralph Waldo Emerson, and barley. Two best dogs in the whole world. That's right. Two best dogs in the whole world. You. All right, pass that one. We will bypass that one. Check this out. This one right here has a maggot in it. You see that maggot? That's the reason why you probably don't want to go using the acorns that are blackened like that. Once you get in there, you know, you want to make sure that you're only using the fresh meat of the acorns, because what we've got right here is a maggot inside there. You surely don't want that in your food, so I'm going to toss that out. It's satisfying work, I'll tell you. Satisfying work. Nice to get lost in your thoughts and be doing something productive and constructive and honing skills, honing knowledge on a late Sunday afternoon. Let's see. The other side of this dropped in there somewhere. Where'd you go? That gum. Well, that's the last time I'll do that. Oh, here it is. There it is. Split that in two. The other half dropped down into the plate where I got all the shells, and I lost her. I knew it was a good nut too. I didn't want to lose her. See what I'm doing? Acorns. Making acorns. See, this is really how they should look. You see how, well, got a black spot in there. So we'll take a look at it. We might have to chop that part away. But this nice, juicy green, that's what you want. And the little black, if there's a little black part in there, you can just cut that away. Not a big deal. A little bit of black right there. And that, I don't know if it's terrible or anything, but I'm just going to cut it off and keep the rest of it and keep on going. Here we go. Cut off the black. Keep the good fresh looking part. It's no different with acorns than like apples and stuff like that. Apples that you pick up off the ground, there's always a risk there's going to be a bug or something in there. So you just kind of learn to avoid the bad, stick with the good. Doesn't mean that all apples that you find on the ground are bad. It just, you learn what to look for to only get the good stuff. There we go. That looks pretty good right there. Yeah, that's good. Nice and fresh. Yeah, that's really good right there. Nice fresh meat inside that acorn. It's exactly what you want. Look, here we go again. Look at this. Loaded with maggots. See those maggots there? But that's, that happens with any kind of fruit or anything you pick up off the ground. There's always a risk of that. So it's not like this is something unique to acorns. That could happen with apples. It could happen with any kind of walnuts. Pick up walnuts off the ground. Same thing. So it's not something unique to acorns. I know you guys want attention, don't you? I think we got enough to work with here. We're going to roast these up and see how they turn out. Got plenty left over. I got plenty left over. But what I want to do today is I want to roast these up. I want to show you how you can just eat them like that. And I want to use the rest of them for a coffee substitute. So let's get started on that. No, stay away from here. Stay away from here. Hey. All right, we've got our roasted acorns here, and I realize they look a little burnt. Now let me tell you something about this. I have an air fryer. I've got a stove, an oven. I could have put these in a basket, and I could have stuck them into the oven for a certain amount of time. There's a particular reason why I didn't choose to do that. The reason is that these acorns were something that the American Indian used. Like I said, around this area it's the Shawnee, and also the Civil War soldiers here in the United States would use these as a coffee substitute. So I wanted to I didn't want to do anything that you couldn't do out in the field. Like, I wanted to recreate something, even though I'm here in my studio. I didn't want to use any type of method that I couldn't just as easily use out in the field, like being out in the woods. So that's what I tried to recreate. That's why they look burnt. That burnt look ain't gonna hurt you. I've salted these. Let's take a try of one of these acorns here that have been roasted and salted. They've cooled down, as you can see. So here we go. Moment of truth. Remember, when I tried them earlier, they were very, very bitter. Let's see how this is. I'll tell you what, folks, that is really good. That is really good. That's like something you get it from the grocery store. Peanuts, like roasted peanuts or something like that. Really good. That bitterness, roasting them like that, has just taken the bitterness right out of them. I think the secret is really, you know, if you noticed when I was shelling these things, I was trying to keep them whole, but that's probably not what you want to do. You probably want to split them like this. See if you can see that in the camera. You probably want to split them like that because I think, now don't quote me on this, but I think they've got a lot of tannin in them, and so when you're roasting them, you're trying to get rid of a lot of that tannin. You folks who know better can correct me on that, but there's something very bitter in there, and roasting them is the process of trying to get rid of that bitterness. And I'll tell you, you know, it might be tannin, it might be something else, but roasting them, it just completely gets rid of that bitterness. It's very good. Now, keep in mind, these are salted. Hey, these are not only roasted, but these have also been salted. Now, what I'm going to do, these are delicious. I'll tell you, they really are delicious. When I tried them earlier raw, they were as bitter as could be. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a small mess of these. We're going to put them into this grinder here, this portable coffee grinder that I've got. And we're going to see what they do as a coffee substitute. All right, so let's do that. Oh, one last thing I want to say as we're doing this. All right, so I have this portable coffee grinder here. What we're going to do, what I want to tell you, is that as I was roasting these, the smell was incredibly good in that olive oil with a little bit of salt. I don't even know how to describe it. It smelled like, it filled up the whole area here with the smell of like roasted, like buttered popcorn. It was a fantastic smell. You know, it's too bad that the internet don't allow me to transfer smells across the internet, but it was nice. It was a really nice experience. And this is something that I've done many times in the past. Okay, I got some big ones. There's only this grinder here will only fit acorns of a certain size. So I'm trying to pick out the smallest ones. Yeah, it was just really good. The whole area in here just smelled like buttered popcorn or something like that. I'll tell you what, if you've never done something like this and you come across an easy mess of acorns, I just don't see any reason why not to collect them and make them into something good. I mean, it's not a whole lot of work. This is kind of like one of those things where, you know, you're stepping over food all the time, stepping over good stuff all the time, that with just a little bit of effort, you could collect these sorts of things and really enjoy Mother Nature, have a closer connection with Mother Nature. So let's go ahead and grind these. I think I've got enough cameras on me right now. We'll see how it goes. This is actually a coffee grinder, so I don't know how this is going to work, but it's portable. So, and I think I'm in the camera there. There we go. If I'm not in the camera, this is the grinder. I may need to take the top off every once in a while. Make sure those are dropping off in there. But I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed with those. The smaller they are. So what I was saying earlier was that as you're as you're deshelling these, the smaller the pieces, probably the better. They roast better, and the better they roast, the better they get that bitterness out of there. So if you got like these big ones right like this, they're probably going to roast more slowly. It's going to be harder to get the bitterness out of there. There we go. All right, get that in there. Yeah, so I had read about this years and years ago, about how the Civil War soldiers in the South particularly would use acorns as a coffee substitute. And I tried to, I was living in Philadelphia at the time, living right out there not too far from Gettysburg. And so I was interested in these sorts of things. And whenever I read, especially about the American Indian doing certain things, now you got to be careful about when you read about the American Indian, because a lot of it is just rumor and some of it's true. I'll give you an example. When we were kids, there was a plant out in the woods that was called bloodroot, and it's really interesting. This bloodroot, you dig it up, and it looks like when you dig up the root, it looks like a gnarled finger, and so it's very identifiable. It's one of those plants that once you learn how to identify it, it's not difficult at all. You dig up the plant, and you snap the root that looks like a gnarled finger. You snap it in two, and it bleeds out both ends. It looks like blood. It looks like a finger bleeding. And we had always heard, when I was growing up, that the American Indian used that as a medicine for cuts and stuff like that. Well, so we always smearing that on us and everything like that. Well, years later, I looked into that. And what I learned was that that's a myth, that the bloodroot will actually make scarring worse. So if you've got a cut and you're smearing bloodroot juice on your cut, what you're doing is you're making scarring worse. So that's just one example that you can't always trust just because you hear something like the American Indian did a thing, that it was the best thing in the world to do. You know, you American Indians out there, I don't want to talk like you're not in the room. I will tell you this, that my life mentor, Dave Selvage, was a Cherokee Indian, and so I grew up with Dave Selvage, a Cherokee Indian, as a kind of a life mentor of mine, a spiritual mentor of mine. He's not with us anymore, but I asked him one time. I said, which term do you prefer? Do you prefer American Indian, or do you prefer the term Native American? And he looked me square in the eye and he said, I prefer American Indian. And I said, really, why? And he gave me some reasons, but you know, the reasons don't matter. My point here is that I continue to use American Indian, that terminology, in honor of my mentor. And if anybody don't like it, well, I'm sorry. It comes straight from the mouth of my mentor, who was an American Indian. He was a Cherokee Indian. I'm not talking like 1/500th Cherokee Indian. He was Cherokee Indian. And so in honor of my Cherokee mentor, whenever it comes time for me to choose the correct, politically correct terminology to refer to the American Indian, I always default to American Indian. He said he preferred it. I was surprised when he said that, but he was secure in that. He liked that. He preferred that, and so in his honor, that's the terminology you will always hear me use when I'm talking about the American Indian. Now I realize there are American Indians out there who probably feel different, but and I respect that. But in honor of my life mentor, I prefer to use the term American Indian. I think it's more respectful, and because of the story behind it, I think it has a lot more meaning than if I were just to superficially start using other terminology. Okay, so here we got, you probably can't see that, but here in the reservoir of this, can you see that? Can you see that? Boy, I really need to make sure that you folks can see that. It looks like coffee, and I'll tell you what, it smells like coffee. That is incredible. That is incredible. Here, let me take a look at the cameras here, see what I got. All right, I don't want to use up too much of this here, but in the camera, I just want to tap a little bit in there. Can you see that? That is as black as coffee right there. My lighting is not too great. Let me turn on some more lights. That is incredible. I'll tell you why it's incredible. Do you folks remember when I was setting these out and they were fresh and green? That is amazing. And it's got this beautiful coffee smell to it. That is amazing. Wow. Wow, that's good. That is really good. Let's boil some water. Put this into a filter, and let's see what kind of drink we get out of this. I'll tell you what, I just can't believe I've never done this process exactly the way I'm doing it right now, but man, that smells good. And you saw there when I put that in my hand how black that come out, just like coffee, which is incredible because when I started this process, that was all green and raw. Those acorns. Wow, I'm really impressed by this, I'll tell you. So let's see here. Here's the reservoir of the acorns. I'm going to put them in here. What we're going to do, we're going to do a pour over. Can you folks see that? I hope you can. Let's turn that around. That is incredible. That is incredible. And I'll tell you that the smell that is filling this area right now is incredible. It's really, really rich and just delicious. Man, I really hope my camera's picking that up. You see how dark that is? It just looks like Starbucks coffee. But the smell of it is, whew, that is really good. All right. Let's find a cup, and then we can see what this tastes like as a coffee substitute. Wow. I'm impressed. I didn't get a whole lot there. It's about there. It's about 1 cup of coffee. What 1 cup of coffee would be. But I'll tell you right now, man, the smell of that is ridiculously nice. It smells very good. All right, so we're going to do this pour over here. I tell you, I'm so pleased with this. Yeah, so the process I used here, you wouldn't have to be at home. You could do this right out in the woods, and that's why I did it the way I did it. Man, it's good. Holy mackerel! It's amazing how roasting these acorns just takes the bitterness right out of them. Putting a little bit of salt on there, man, enhances the taste. And I know they look all blackened and everything, like they're burnt. They taste delicious. That is amazing. That is amazing. We're getting ready to try this coffee substitute here, see what that's like. All right, boiling water. Just going to do a pour over here. Let's see how that turns out. This is exactly the way I make my coffee most of the time. We're just going to do like a double shot. All right, just so we can taste this. Again, just using a process here that you could use right out in the woods. You don't have to be at home. You don't have to have any special type of gear or anything like this. I mean, you could take your cook mug, boil some water, and do this very easily. There we go. All right. It smells earthy. Take a look at the coffee there. I got two cameras set up, so hopefully it's dark. It's dark like a dark coffee roast, which is amazing because the meat of those acorns were so green and white and fresh. But once you roast them up like that, look what it does. Gets that tannin out of there, but it gives you a black, dark roast like thing. Okay, so here we go. A moment of truth. It's pretty hot. I don't know if it's because I've still got the taste of the acorns in my mouth or not, but that's pretty good. It's like a roasted nut. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, I'll tell you what. I need to rinse. I got just the thing to rinse my mouth out with here. This Kentucky bourbon. Let me rinse my mouth out. We'll try it again. All right. Fresh palate. Man, that's really good. That is really good. Now, obviously, you're not getting the caffeine like you get with coffee, but that is really good. Wow, that is fantastic. I'm not kidding you, that is fantastic. What an amazing thing. Acorns lying underneath your feet all the time. You stepping right over top of them. All the ardillas, the squirrels, taking them off for themselves. And here, we're just missing out. We're just missing out, I'll tell you what. That is fantastic. The whole process, now, I did some traveling and everything. I was driving, I was doing some other things today, but if I'm out in the forest, you could collect those, go through the whole process in probably an hour. And I ain't kidding about that. You'd have food for the night and a warm coffee-like drink for the evening after like an hour's worth of work for the evening. It's fantastic. That is fantastic. Man, that's really good. It's got like a coffee taste to it. It's really amazing. Let me see if I can get that again on camera. Just how dark that is. That is dark coffee-like. It tastes like coffee. That is incredible. Like decaf coffee. That's what it tastes like. Wow, fantastic. Man, I'll tell you what, folks. You come across some acorns, remember, you don't have to know what kind of acorns they are. It don't matter. All acorns are edible. You can roast them in a pan like that over a campfire. See, that's the beauty of this presentation here. Everything I've done here, you can do right out in the woods. You don't have to be in your house. You don't have to be in a place like this. You could just do it right over a campfire. And I'm telling you what, that is an amazing experience. I don't think I've ever done it as good as I just did it right now for you and for everybody else and for me. That's incredible. Incredible. Man. 3 thumbs up and a toe and a tail. All right, because I got my puppies right here. They've been involved in this too. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me right here on The Practical Woodsman. Do me a favor, press like. I'm telling you, it does you good, it does me good, but it also does other people good, other people who are interested in this sort of thing. Subscribe, share, get the word out. I appreciate doing this for you. This is just fun stuff for me. I love doing this sort of thing, and I love the natural world. I love experimenting and doing new things. If you'd like to see me continuing to do what I've been doing all my life, well, just press like, press subscribe, share this video. I appreciate it. Man, that's good. It's really good. I'm not just saying that.